Once upon a time, in a small nestled town in the rolling hills of the countryside, there lived a beautiful coffee woman named Akua. She had long luscious hair, the color of dark chocolate, and her skin was a radiant, sun-kissed brown, and her curves were voluptuous and enticing, and she carried herself with confidence and poise. Despite her sterling beauty, Akua had given up on love. She had been sought after by many men in the village, but none of them had ever truly appreciated her for who she was. They would often make light comments about her body or try to get her to conform to their unrealistic standards of beauty. Aqua had grown tired of being objectified and disrespected. She began to focus on her own happiness and well-being, spending her days tending to a garden and her nights reading books by the fire. One day, a stranger arrived in the village. He was tall and brooding, with piercing green eyes and jet black hair. He was quiet and mysterious, and the villagers were immediately drawn to him. Aqua, however, was not impressed. She had been burned too many times before, and she was determined not to let the stranger into her heart. But as she watched him from afar, she couldn't help but feel a spark of curiosity. There was something about him that seemed different, something that seemed to draw her in. As the day passed, Aqua found herself running into the stranger more and more often. They would exchange brief, polite conversations, but Aqua couldn't shake the feeling that there was something beneath the surface. One night, as she was walking home from the market, Aqua felt a hand on her shoulder. She spun around, ready to defend herself, but it was the stranger. "I'm sorry," he said. His eyes locked in hers. "I didn't mean to startle you. My name is Coffee, by the way." Aqua's heart was racing, but she felt a sense of calm rush over her as she looked into Coffee's eyes. "I'm Aqua," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Aqua smiled, and Coffee was impressed. "It's nice to meet you, Aqua," he said. "Would you like to work with me?" Aqua hesitated for a moment, but then she nodded. As they walked, Coffee told her about his life, about his family and his dreams. Aqua listened, entranced, feeling like she had known him her whole life. As the night wore on, Aqua found herself feeling drawn to Coffee in a way she never had with any man before. She felt like she could be herself around him, like he truly saw her for who she was. But just as things were starting to feel perfect, Aqua's past came back to haunt her. A group of men from the village, men who had previously harassed and disrespected her, appeared out of the shadows. "Well, well, well," one of them sneered. "Look what we have here. Aqua, the village slut, with her new boyfriend." Aqua felt a surge of fear, but Coffee stepped forward, his eyes blazing with anger. "Leave her alone," he growled. The men laughed, but Coffee stood his ground. Aqua watched in amazement as he took down the men one by one, his movements swift and deadly. When it was all over, Coffee turned to Aqua and pulled her into his arms. "I'm so sorry," he whispered. "I'll never let anyone harm you." She knew in that moment that she was falling in love with Coffee. As they stood there, wrapped in each other's arms, Aqua knew that she had finally found a true love, and she knew that she would do anything to protect him, just as he had protected her. But little did Aqua know, Coffee had secrets of his own, secrets that could change everything. As the days went by, Aqua and Coffee's relationship blossomed. They spent every spare moment together, exploring the village and the surrounding countryside. Aqua had never been happier. But despite their deepening connection, Coffee remained secretive about his past. Aqua would often try to ask him about his life before the village, but he would always change the subject or brush her off. Aqua couldn't help but feel a little frustrated. She had opened up the coffee about her own past, about the pain and the struggle she had faced, but Coffee seemed determined to keep his own secret hidden. One night, as they sat together by the fire, Aqua decided to confront Coffee about the secrecy. Coffee, I need to ask you something, she said, her eyes trembling. Coffee looked at her wearily, but nodding for her to continue. Why won't you tell me about the past? Aqua asked. Her eyes locked on his. I've told you everything about me. I feel like I can trust you with anything, but you always seem to be hiding something. Coffee sighed and rubbed his temples. Aqua, I don't know how to explain, he said. My past is complicated. There are things that I've done, things I've seen, things that I'm not proud of. Aqua's heart went out to him. She could see the pain and the guilt etched on his face. Coffee, whatever it is, I'll listen, she said softly. I'll try to understand and I'll support you no matter what. Coffee looked at her, his eyes searching, and then in a low, husky voice, he began to tell her his story. I was once a member of a secret society, he said. A group of warriors and assassins sworn to protect the kingdom from threats both within and without. But as time went on, I began to realize that the society's true intentions were not what they seemed. They were using their power and influence to manipulate and control the kingdom rather than protect it. Aqua's eyes widened in shock. What did you do? She asked. Coffee's face twisted in a mixture of pain and guilt. I tried to leave, he said, but the society doesn't let people leave. They hunt you down and they kill you. I had to go into hiding to protect myself, and that's when I came to this village to start a new life. Aqua's heart went out to Coffee. She couldn't imagine what he must have gone through, what he must have seen, but she knew that she had to support him to help him heal. Coffee, I'm so sorry, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, but I'm glad you're here now. I'm glad you're safe. Coffee looked at her, his eyes filled with gratitude. Thank you, Aqua, he said. Just being with you makes me feel like I can finally start to heal. And with that, Coffee leaned forward and pressed his lips to Aqua's. It was a soft, gentle kiss, but it sent shivers down Aqua's spine. As they pulled back, Aqua smiled up at Coffee. I'm glad I can help you heal, she said. Coffee smiled back, his eyes crinkling at the corners. I'm glad to, he said. I love you, Aqua. Aqua's heart skipped a beat. I love you too, Coffee, she replied.